Did you know that most abuse is mutual? So in most abusive relationships, the parties are hitting each other. And actually in one-sided abuse, what do you think's more common? Men hitting women one-sided or women hitting men one-sided?
Look at Blueface and Krishan. I know you guys have seen that. There we go. Blueface is more scared of her than she is of him. There we go.
She's pretty scary.
Do you think now Blueface should not hit her back?
I was thinking
that girl's crazy.
Yeah, no, those two, I actually cannot. They're not. Wait, she has no tooth because of what? Because of him?
I have no clue. I'm not gonna lie to you. But at the same time, this girl, I heard that some Snapchat video or whatever, he's on the phone, like he's making a TikTok, and she's like, yo babe, who you on the phone to? Da-da-da-da. He's like 999. Like he actually acts scared of her. Like
they asked him why he stayed. I forgot what he said. He was like, I'm already in this far. Like, I already did all this. I'm like, what are you?
In too deep. It reminded me of the not Amber Rose. Is Amber Rose and Johnny Depp? Amber Heard, sorry.
Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that was that. Listening to that court case, that was very much like that, wasn't it? It was. They were both.
No, but that was her.
More so her.
Yeah, I can't lie. After watching that, it goes to show you that a lot of women actually play the victim card a lot. And more time, they're the toxic ones in the relationship, because at the end of the day, if it wasn't for that court trial, this guy was getting cancelled. He was getting taken off so much things. Like, he's so successful, and she was just trying to come and bring him down.
And after all that, she still wanted to go to do a retrial, didn't she? She didn't want to accept that decision.
But look at her, it backfired on her. She got fired from her stuff.
It's crazy with this too, because Pamela Anderson, literally, they were on and off for years. Okay, he went to jail even though she hit him first. And on top of that, she's doing a documentary about it, and she wrote a book about it. And now she has the audacity to text him at 55 and say, "You were my one true love."
Wait, did she say that he replied?
No.
She's definitely the one that keep reeling him back in, I think.
Yeah.
She said, "I can't believe," it's kind of like cut off because it's in the documentary, but it says,
toxic.
I think this says, "They were young. I can't believe they filmed so much. It's heartbreaking in a good way. So much love. We were happy, so cute with the boys as babies." And it's really how the paparazzi world tore us apart. It was very emotional and sweet. I have only good things to say about you, especially in hindsight. I realized I only had one true love. I never recovered. It's hard, and I regret the pain I caused each other to dwell anything on the negative. It's the truth. Yeah, but he's like married now, so I don't think he responded.
So just leave the guy in peace.
That's what you should do, but
yeah,
I bet any money, if he come knocking at her door, she'd open up, wouldn't she?
Oh, yeah,
fully.
If she's saying
not just the door.
Yeah, but then she's had him, spend time in jail. She's, been talking about him the last 10 years.
She's made his life a misery probably for a long time. Yeah.
So what does that make him if he goes back to her?
Well, he's not married, I don't think.
But these men, you never know these men, you know.
Well, he didn't reply to us, so.
But it's interesting how she uses the paparazzi as a reason they didn't work out.
She's not very accountable, is she?
After all that's happened, it's down to the photographers.
Yeah. It's their fault that we broke up.
It wasn't an on again, off again abusive. And she married someone else too.
Mm-hmm.
It was Kid Rock. And then after they divorced, and she was like right back with Tommy.
That's crazy.
So it's like she had a guy that, allegedly would treat her well.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why guys.
And when did they get married again? How?
1995, I think it said.
But they got married within like 3 days of meeting.
3 days.
3 days
and
of
then
meeting
this
each other.
lasted, when was the last time? I think it was 5 years ago from now. So it was 1994 to 2018.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we forget, well, not we forget, but in some cases with women and men, I guess, is what you think is the norm. So, somebody who identifies love as like chaotic and whirlwindy and, on and off, on off, that thrill, that excitement, that up and down emotions and stuff, they will continuously go for people that they feel that with, because that's what they know to be love. That feeling of the whole butterflies and it's all excitable and it's all chaotic, as I said, that whole roller coaster of emotions, that is what they believe it to be. And so that's what they chase. It sounds like Pamela Anderson, certainly, she believes that he is the one for her one true love. Yeah. When we look at it on paper, it looks like a shit show, but that's what she believes is love. Mm-hmm. And I think other people that don't
I think that's what kind of plays into what we were talking about earlier about toxicness, because I feel like a lot of relationships on paper will look one way, but when you're there experiencing it for yourself, Like, you're gonna feel a whole different type of emotions than the person who's actually just reading your story, if that makes sense. Like, somebody can read something and be like, oh, like, for example, Christian and Blue Rock, we always judge these lot, but we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know what emotions they're going through. We don't know what he says to her, what she says to him. We don't know that kind of bond that they have.
It's more
but
than
we
that
just
as
see
well,
what we
isn't it?
see, if that makes
I
sense.
think it's attachment. It's not
I
bond.
was
It's
going
an
to say attachment style
Attachment bond is like the same word.
and upbringing, childhood
Yeah.
trauma that has been unresolved, you know, where they've had to grow up in a house where they've maybe experienced abuse. I mean, even Chris Brown and the Rihanna situation, you know, he was able to link back to the fact that he did see domestic abuse in his upbringing.
She also was hitting him too.
Yes, exactly. And she's obviously got some childhood stuff probably that she was dealing with. I'm not saying we can always blame it on her childhood, but I do think that's why a lot of people really do need to be in therapy or something to process, you know, so that it doesn't continue into your adult relationships and become an unhealthy pattern that
But
you
the
get
thing is
yourself
as well,
into.
I feel like in terms of like people going therapy and stuff, I feel like this stuff is so normal now that nobody really feels like they actually need help, because it's like everybody kind of goes through, obviously it's not good, but there's so many broken marriages, they bring up children, they kind of see the same kind of cycles growing up, and then when it comes to relationships, they're reflecting the same kind of things. Like you said about before, like girls not having their dads, you see people, your mom, your dad's hitting your mom, like there's just bare different stuff that people go through, and it's like
people like used to have families that used to support them through their relationships and they could actually get advice from. But now it's like a lot of people are born in, like you said, single parent homes and they don't have like they've maybe one sibling. Who do they go to?
Yeah. I mean, the same.
To the internet.
Single
Go to
parent
the internet
mum.
and look at what we see on the internet.
Or
No
a stranger
siblings.
therapist. Like when you think about it, I was thinking about this. I don't want to say I don't believe in therapy, okay? I don't want to say I don't, because I do think like in short term, they can teach you tools to help yourself. But I was thinking, I'm like, you could either go to a stranger that you don't know about a problem, or you could go to your family. What makes more sense?
But sometimes people don't have that support system.
Yeah,
And
that's
sometimes
the
the therapy
problem.
is for the family.
Yeah.
What?
Sometimes the therapy is for the family, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's also a cultural thing, maybe. Because, I mean, did you say you're from a Muslim cultural background as well? Did you say that earlier?
Yeah.
Because I know that in the marriage breakdown within that, you don't just go straight to divorce. You have to kind of go to other people in the community and all of that before you make that decision, isn't it? Can you give me a bit of background on that? What the process is with regards to breakups and divorces within the community?
I was going to say this as well previously anyway. So when you are in a relationship, I feel like going to a therapist or family, all these kind of things should always be like the second to last resort, because at the end of the day, everyone's going to give you their opinion based on their perspective. And like you said, no one's actually in the relationship. So things can be very negative and all these kind of things, but there may be little things about yourself or about your partner. You may not be given an objective story. There's so many different factors, but
That's
what
I think too. Like, because if you go to a therapist, they're not going to know the backstory your family does.
Yeah.
your family's only going to know what you tell them as well.
Yeah, but like they know you. So like if my sister's has a problem with her boyfriend, like I've known my sister since she was a kid. So if she tells me a story, I'm going to have a little bit more context than a stranger.
True.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't believe, like I think therapy's needed because of the breakdown of the family structure, but I feel like we have so much therapy nowadays because we don't have families anymore. Like
Yeah.
we don't have a stable family. Like if you had a stable group of people, like I don't know you guys' backgrounds, but if you have a stable group of people that love you and want what's best for you, aren't they better than a stranger who doesn't know you?
Do you know what it is
so.
for me? I feel like it's all like I literally understand everything you're saying, and it works out well that way sometimes. But at the same time, like you said, you don't know everybody's family situation. Some people could be coming from a very biased kind of family, so people could be biased. And I don't know, you might say, for example, you've got a dispute with your mum, not necessarily a relationship, but like family wise. You've got a dispute with your mum. You might have, like, I don't know, your cousins, your aunties, everybody taking your mum's side and nobody really taking into account what you're saying. So I feel like the therapist
But that's
comes
why
in
you get
where
two
it's
sides.
kind of biased. I'm non-biased, sorry. So the therapist will come in non-biased. They'll basically, from what I gather, they will try to take your, I don't know, they'll try to ask, cool, like, Jackie, like, tell me a bit about yourself. They'll ask you some questions, They'll then ask, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll try to piece things together. They'll ask you, cool, your version of events their version of events.
I agree with like short term, right?
Yeah.
I think therapists can be helpful for like short term, but I'm just thinking like, because even like before the average used to be 5 kids. So all 4 siblings aren't going to take your mom's side. There's one that likes the dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and so I just feel like a lot of times we have this surplus of like everyone's got a therapist in society because we don't have the families that we were supposed to have.
There's a breakdown of the family unit.
Yeah.
Can I just finish answering the question you asked me?
Yeah, I was very curious about that. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Sorry, everyone. But yeah, I was just going to say, after you deal with things internally and you cannot deal with it internally, then you have to go to your parents and your grandma and stuff. And if even then you cannot, and things like divorce and going to, then you go to the imam. So then you go to like the religious leader and all these kind of things. And if after all of these different avenues you've tried your hardest, then obviously there's other options that are not so great.
Yeah, but it's like a 3-step process before you can't just be like, that's it, we're getting divorced. You need to talk to everybody about it first, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a good thing.
I'll tell
it's
you.
not necessarily therapy as well, because it's like religious and your family coming from those perspectives.